Happy Thursday, everybody. I think today is, I've been reading the sign today, October 24th. So it's a week before Halloween. And I have not been around for a couple of weeks because I've just been crazy busy. So we're going to be doing about 2 Facebook Lives a week just for people that have been asking where I've been, just due to schedule and conflict and all of that business. So I'm trying to do it every other week. And I see Greg jumping in there. So to make sure that I'm saying the right things. And then secondly, I've been getting a lot of people calling the office to schedule appointments. If you want to schedule an appointment, just go directly to philquinn.com and all scheduling is done right there. And that my available calendar is right online, so you'll see what's happening. Now, last week we talked about what was going on the other side. This week we're talking about something that's a little more exciting for me. And it's different than, we're talking about soul friends. And soul friends are different than soulmates. So I want to make that very, very clear. Tonight we're not talking about soulmates. So your soulmate is your partner and the person that you're sleeping with. Your soul friend is your best friend, okay? The individual that is in your life that without even talking to, they know what's going on with you and what's not going on with you. Oh, Jasper's not here, so I'm rolling alone tonight to try and do this. So let me just explain to you. So I was trying to come up with a topic, and I had to call on Isaac because I couldn't figure out what to come up with. So Isaac said, let's talk about soul friends, because it's very important that people know that you will have friendships here on earth. And those friendships are part of how you get through your contract here on earth. So what we call them on the other side is soul friends. And how this works is, before you and I come to earth, you will meet up with your best friend or best friends. They're actually come in a group and say, we are going to meet up again at a certain point here on earth. So, and how you know if somebody's part of your soul group is it's instantaneous communication. It's instantaneous connection. It's instantaneous laughter. You have all the same humor. You have all the same whatever quirks that it is. And you immediately just match and merge. So, and it's we call this our best friend. But really what it is our soul friend. So now, can you have more than one soul friend? Absolutely. Absolutely, because again, we come in groups, and these are different than just this. These are different than soulmates. Our soul friends can even be our siblings. So where you just are so close to one of your siblings that you're best friends no matter what happens, and they're part of the soul friends. So Isaac says, why is this important? Why is having a soul friend important? Well, 2 things are important. One, it's important, he says, that you allow yourself and you're receptive to allowing a friend to come into your life. Not everyone requires it, he says. So a lot of people come to earth not requiring a friend, but for other people who do want it, it's very important that you're receptive to it. And number 2, it's important because soul friends help you go down your journey and go down your path together, because life is incredibly difficult. And you have conversations with your soul friend that you wouldn't necessarily have with your partner. You can talk about anything without being judged, without being criticized, without feeling humiliated, whatever the situation is. And I'll give you an example of what soul friendship is. So just recently I was in Texas. Something came on, and I know this sounds corny, but I watched Dr. Phil. All right, so anytime that I'm in a hotel, I always watch Dr. Phil. I'm like, ooh, what's he good doing this today? So there was a legal matter going on, and I was thinking about Brendan, and I kept saying to myself, I really need to ask him about this here, and really, because it's really bugging me. So, and I kept thinking over and over again. This was going on for 20 minutes, and then my phone rings. And instantaneously, I look down, and there he is. And I'm like, I was going to call you. And the first words out of his mouth was, I know, I could hear you. And this is very typical of soul friends. So they instantaneously know if the other one needs something. So, and they can just tell, I'm about to call you, or I'm about to see you, or whatever it is. And what the purpose of this is what does this do for you? Well, it makes the journey a little more happier. It makes the journey a little more fun. It makes the journey a little easier. So, and it also takes pressure off our soulmates, if you're lucky enough to find one, or it takes pressure off partners, or it takes pressure off families, because we get to dump on one another, we get to communicate with one another, we get to laugh with one another in a different way than our family members may see us in that light. Because with soul friends, you can be who you truly are. And it's different than when other people see you with other people. Like, it's almost shocking. So, and for me, I have a group of soul friends. So, and it's I have a very small group. I don't have a large group of people, but I have a very small group. But I not just because I'm a medium, but I would instantly be able to know if one of those other people was in distress or if they need it. Now, there's another thing Isaac says that happens on the other side that you might find interesting. And this is, you will set people to come up into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, as the old saying goes. And sometimes these souls are sent into your life to say, around 20 blank 7, let's call it for me, you're going to need major help. And at that time, I'm going to send in, you're going to meet your soul friend. And around that time, I met my earth angel, and it was, for me, instantaneous. The other person did not know, but for me, I instantly knew. And that also is very possible that the other person doesn't quite know, but you know immediately, like, I need to be friends with you. And the other person's just like, don't even know you yet. So, but you feel this very strong, and you just feel this attraction to them. But it's not a physical attraction. It's an energetic attraction. It's not sexual. It's just that I want to be friends with you. Like, I know we know each other somehow. We have all the same similarities. And for me, that once that happened, my entire life changed. Now, let me tell you something out about a soul friend, so that I have in my life. A soul friend will do any single thing in their power to keep you safe. And if that means telling on you, then that means telling on you. Because a soul friend is different than a friend. A soul friend will intervene to stop you from getting into trouble. A soul friend will walk in and say, you're out of line. I need to help you here because this is going to affect your family. This is going to affect your children. So a soul friend is somebody that will say, you know what? You have a problem, and I'm going to the main headquarters to say you have a problem, meaning like your family, your loved ones, or whoever it is. So they will step over that boundary regardless of the consequences. So, and the consequences mean that if you tell anybody that I'm drinking or I'm drugging or I'm seeing other people or I'm being, whatever the situation is, it's over. A soul friend will truly go and say, I would rather lose you and love you from a distance than watch you self-destruct. So, because a true soul friend knows that the relationship is going to survive the crisis and the time. It knows that it's going to weather the storm, no matter what or how bad it is. And let me tell you, I have friends in my life that have weathered some storms with me. And I have weathered them with them. And we look back on it periodically and laugh, like, how on earth did we get through that? And we got through that because on the other side, we made this agreement that under no circumstances would there be abandonment. What does happen with some soul friends is they're in your life for a period of time, and then what happens is they start their life, and what happens is there's this drifting effect, but you're always in some form of communication, and then another one can drop in. Because remember, hopefully you're meeting your partner and building your life and doing the things that you wanted to do or what you came here to earth for. But what happens is with a soul friend is no matter how far you are apart, you always still have this connection. You always still have what's going on. So it's really remarkable. So I'm going to take a questions here. Jasper's not here, so it's a little difficult for me to answer everybody's questions here tonight. So I'm just scrolling back here. Is my current birth okay? So people often say as well, Phil, my relationship is what my soul friend is or what my soulmate is. And I just want to make the differences here. A soulmate is a soul that you design, that you know on the other side, that says we are going to come to earth and be romantic, either have children, not have children, do whatever it is, but we're going to live together. So, and that is a soulmate. And they're often inseparable. And a soul friend can be parted from you. So, meaning that if you're living in one end of the country and the other one's living there, but soulmates don't like to be apart. So they don't like traveling. They don't like to be apart. Like I don't like Jasper not being here right now. So I don't, because it's I just don't like Jasper not being here, regardless what day it is. But and that's just the God honest truth. And that's the difference between a soul friend and a soulmate is. Hopefully, he says I'm his soulmate as well, but I mean, I'm just going how I feel about this. There's always that risk, people. Don't forget about that. So you could throw out love there. It doesn't mean it's going to come back to you. But with soul friends, there's no question. Isaac says we're getting off topic, but he says with soul friends, there's no question. Is you always weather the storm. I'll take a question in a second here, so I will. Okay, so. So here's the other question too, and it's an interesting question is, do people come here knowing that they're not going to find a soul friend? So will people come into Earth knowing that they're going to not have soul friends or have deep connection with friends where they're just quiet to themselves and they're doing their own things? And the answer to that question is 100% yes. Not everybody requires a group of friendship. Not everyone requires deep connections. Not everyone requires to have this solid connection with another individual. They're completely content and happy on their own. So you can also design your contract for there not to be this need for soul friends, and then other people design their contract and say, I really don't want to do this alone because I'm a first timer. And when you're a first timer, you often want friends around you. What can you do to meet your soul friend? Good question. So I always tell people the most important thing is that you channel, and what I mean by channel is you send out your energy saying, I'm ready to meet someone, or I'm ready to have someone in my life. Often when you meet your soul friend, you're a little older in your life, or you meet somebody, and because you're wiser, and I don't know how old that may be for some people, but often you're a little wiser. This isn't typically a high school thing. So although people have met their soul friends in high school and remain friends their entire life, but it's where was I going with this here? But it's so. Let me just take this question back again. Oh my God, see how terrible I am without Jasper? So what can you do to meet your soul friend? So the best thing that you can do, just like you can do anything, is you tell the other side, I'm ready, I'm open, and please send me. There's always a need for a friend. If you don't have a need, Isaac says, you know there's no need for a soul friend. The need for a friend is, I want someone to chat with. I want someone to talk with. I want somebody to get along with. I want somebody that I'm able to socialize and go out with, where I don't have to drag my partner or whatever, because our partner doesn't always necessarily want to do the same things that we want to do. So could it be our child? Can your child be your soul friend? 100%. That's a great question, Linda. So I don't even think of that. So can your child be your soul friend? 100%. So it's I hate to say it, man, but my mom and I are definitely good friends. So we are. So it's just, and she'd probably be the first to say it as well. But it's and I know I have a lot of siblings, but it's my mom and I are good friends, and your child can absolutely be your soul friend. So and you can design the contract where that you're an only child, and being an only child, for some people that is the friendship, that's the nature of the soul. That's a really good question. Do soul friends have arguments? Dear God, do soul friends have arguments? 100%. I mean, I'm telling you, soul friends have real arguments, like heartfelt arguments, not over, I don't like this, whatever trivial thing. Like, heartfelt arguments and heated arguments, disagreements. And it could be over a variety of things, but the nature of the soul friend is you always come back together. Always come back together. You're always able to say, yo, that didn't, it didn't go out that way. That wasn't the way this was supposed to happen, and you're always been able to talk this through. I can't even tell you. I'm just sitting here thinking about this because I know who's going to watch this video. I have walked into my friend's house, looked at their significant other, and said, this is wrong, disastrous, and this will not last. Just go. Because I just knew that what he needed was something entirely different. And I knew how I delivered this wasn't the best way of delivering this, and I've learned a lot from it, but it was this desire to protect overcame me like I've never seen anything like it in my life, because that's what happens with soul friends is you feel this overwhelming desire to protect the other person, because if the other person isn't necessarily seeing things the way they should be seeing them, or maybe not seeing them healthily, you want to step in and say, that's it, I'm going to take over here and do this here. So that's another question. Okay, what else we got here? So what's in it for the soul friend? Their growth. So that's another good question is, all right, well, I have a soul friend. What's in it for them? Well, hopefully what's in it for them is their growth also, because it's a 50-50 relationship. So it's the back and forth with the, sometimes you get to vent and then sometimes I get to vent. So it's meaning that it's not always about venting. It's not always about, somebody's asking a good question and I want to go into it. So it's not always about, I'm being asked here, let me just go back to that there. So somebody's asking is, if your soul friend passes, can they come back as a guide to you? And it's a really good question because it often happens. And what I mean by often is, they will 100% still guide you on the other side. So let's just say you lost your best friend. And one of you happened to die early. And what happens is then on the other side is you continue to watch over your best friend as if you would do here on earth. So they still guide you. And it's interesting that somebody thought about that. I didn't think about that either. Your soul friend can still become your physical guide on the other side. It has. It doesn't just end in the physical realm. It also translates into the spiritual realm. Can one of my family members, like my siblings, be my soul friends? 100%. So you can have family members that is part of your soul group, and that you were coming here to earth in order to do that. If your soul friends or your soulmate passes before you, do they wait for you on the other side until you get there, or do they reincarnate? I'm assuming I can't see the rest of that. Or, I can't see the rest of that there. Or will they come back? I'm just assuming that's what Mary's asking. So what happens is if somebody passes before you, they wait for you to cross over to the other side. They often won't come back. They won't reincarnate. They stay there for you to get over. Because remember, time to them is very short. So, and I talked about that in one of our previous topics. As part of a trio of friends, and the other two are falling out, how do you get them back into being friends? Ooh, great question. If there's a falling out, really what it is it's a test of your will, not anything to do with them. You have to hold your place and you have to hold your power. Well, you can't make them be friends again. So you have to allow that storm to take place. And you have to allow that storm to weather and see what's going to happen. But what you do is you remain solid in your place, that you're picking neither side. And it's very important that you know that picking neither side is good for your growth, because once you choose a side, then it's all over. The tree has fallen. Do children have soul friends? Yes. And they often start at a young age. So often children have guides in the beginning, and they see a lot of guides. They see a lot of grandparents, they see a lot of people that passed over them when they're little. And then when they get into preschool and things like that, then this is when they start meeting their little soul friends. And their little friends are going to help them through school, and they're going to go through that little delivery process with them into middle school, hopefully, and then high school, and so on and so forth. But soul friends start at a very, very young age. So it gets started in kindergarten. So, and what happens is two little souls bond right away, and then they're just BFFs ever since. So, I was married and I had children. Is my soulmate my karmic debt? Wait, is my soulmate my karmic debt? I'm not sure what that means by that. I'll answer that in a second. So, okay. What about people who are emotionally, mentally disabled? Do they have soul friends? Absolutely. And here's the other thing too about that. So I've talked about this as well. People who come into this world with disabilities, they also have tons of angels and tons of guides and tons of people that are watching over them, because they in fact are teaching us here how to survive through some of Earth's biggest problems, number one. Number two, they come in with guides because of not only their disabilities, but because they're teaching you whatever lesson that you chose in order to look after a child or an adult with a disability. Remember, that's part of your contract. So when you're dealing with your contract part, see, I've talked about this before, and I haven't really talked about this in depth. How this goes is everything is set up because of the blueprint. Every single thing that you have is set up in this blueprint before you come here. Now, I know you may all argue the whole thing about free will. Free will is not taken from you. That's a beautiful part. But what's happening here is, in this blueprint, we're stating that this is how the house is going to look when I'm done. At the end of my contract, the house is going to look this particular way. I've designed a blueprint for this house, and this is my way to get through it. Now, chances are I'm going to remember a good portion of it. Other part is it's going to be erased from me. But as I grow, I'm going to continue to build on this house, and I'm going to continue to build and see what it looks like. And hopefully by the end, it looks like a house. Or it's going to look like a wreck, depending on what you do. Because remember, free will allows you to say yay or nay. It allows you to say, I'm not going to go out and socialize. I'm not going to go out and date. It allows you to say, I'm going to sit here and wait for the other side to bring somebody into my life. It's going to make you sit here and say, you know, I'm angry, I am upset, or people don't want me. So it is. It's about this blueprint that you have designed, and your free will either allow you to embrace it, or it'll allow you to turn your back with it. And the strongest people that I know are parents that have buried children and look after disabled children, because it is an absolute unbelievable process that I have witnessed. Now, I don't know much about this topic, but from what I've seen just from the other side, and when the souls do come through to me from the other side, all of their disabilities are removed. So they do show themselves to me disabled in the beginning, so that way you can verify who they are. And then they would show me who they are afterwards. So, and then I would see the soul in its flawless state. Not sure how we got here, but it was a question that somebody asked me, but I wanted to answer it for people who it was. So, okay, where am I going here? Sorry. Okay, can someone in your soul... Okay. Corinne's asked a good question. Can someone be your soul friend and your soul mate at the same time? No. So, soulmates and soul friends are never intimate. So, hopefully I'm able to answer that question. That's the best way I can tell you how to separate it. So, If you're not romantic, then it's a soul friend. If you're soulmate and you're romantic, then it's a totally different process. But normally they're two entirely different things. It's a great question though. But normally they're two entirely different processes. So does your friend work on? So does your soul friend and you work on your contract before you get here on the other side? Meaning that, so before you get here and I'm designing this blueprint, does your soulmate jump in and say, in this part of the blueprint, this is when you and I are going to meet up? And you say, absolutely yes. And then you look at their blueprint and you say, and then this is when I'm going to enter into your life, meaning that we're going to cross paths like this. So, and hopefully, if you're building or going along with the process as well as you can, then you're going to see and run into each other. Now, I know a lot of people will say to me, well, how do you know you're following your path? It's all because following your path, you're going down with very little resistance. So, and when you don't have the resistance, that's how you know that you're slowly, smoothly going down this process. When you feel this uphill battle, it's either a lesson or it's an unnecessary struggle. And that's one of the things that you have to remember, because free will create tons of unnecessary struggles. So and I think Greg's mentioned this in one of his videos, by not following your gut, by not following this, you create this unnecessary pain for ourselves, and it's very hard to get out of this here. So so somebody's asking me a question is, before I get into this next question, is how old do I see people? I see people when they first pass, so whatever age they were, then they go back to the age that they are on the other side, and everybody on the other side is in their 30s. I don't know why. Some people say it's because the year Christ died. Some people say it's because it's the best years of your life. But all I can tell you is that I see people, they're normally in their 30s. So, and a lot of people say that when they get visits from the other side, they'll see them much younger than they remember them when they passed over. And that's because they go into that state. They go into the state of their 30s. If you die before that, you'll age to the age of in your 30s. So that's how I normally see people. But first I see them in a way that the rest of you would remember them before they pass in order to verify that. What is it? Okay. So what if you don't meet your soulmate? Does it mean that what if you don't meet your soulmate? What happens? Well, here's the thing, guys. Not all of us come here for a relationship, number one. And secondly, not all of us come here for the purpose of just procreating and having children. Many of us come here for different reasons and different contracts, because if we all came here just to have children, we have a serious problem in our hands. So it's you always have to keep that in mind, is try to remember that if you're going through certain things in your life, it's very important, because not all of us are supposed to replicate one another. So no two contracts are alike. And it's important that you remember that there, because when you compare yourself to another person, you can get really thrown off and say, okay, well, I'm not as good as the other person. The other person has a better life than me. Listen, if you have a roof over your head, if you're warm at night, if you're dry when it's wet outside, you've got a lot more than a lot of other people out there. And that's the one thing that I praise and thankful to God for. So, and always remember that there. So, I don't want to get off topic, but projection is very important, because it's what calls into your life. And what you project is what you attract. And I've always remembered that. So, and whatever you send out, somebody once said to me, chess players don't hang out with football players. Like-minded people hang out with like-minded people. So, will the other side help you and your soul friends find each other? 100%. Your guides will help you reconnect with one another and send each other into each other's lives. So, but it only happens at the time that when you need it. So you can go through a long period of time without needing a soul friend, and then at any particular time, all of a sudden that individual walks into your life. And if you're if you're lucky enough to meet your soul friend, just understand that it's okay to have debates, it's okay to have arguments, it's okay to have this. So it is, and it's okay to go through that process. That's part of being the soul friend, because that's what's evolving one another. So, but it's not okay to stay in rage. It's not okay to stay in anger. So it's not. So, and I think somebody is saying that when they were 30s, they were looked fabulous. Look, I think everybody loved to be in their 30s, and that's one of the things that we believe. But everyone was in their 30s. So anyway, so thank you all for tuning in. I hope I was able to describe that as best I possibly can. And Jasper won't be traveling next time that I'm on. I will not be here next Thursday. Next Thursday is Halloween. My Friday nights, I do have some open spots, I believe, next year. So for anybody else that wants to join them, get on them now, because I won't be doing any more Friday nights for a while next year in 2020. I do have an open calendar right now for 2020, so it's just been opened up. So for anybody that wants to schedule their appointments, just go to philquinn.com, and I will see you guys with another topic. Thank you all. Love you. See you soon. Bye.